And I too would like to welcome the Minister, and I think this is the first time that two Paschals have actually been involved in a debate on either side of this particular one, and so there's a little bit of history. Minister, the reason for this particular motion is that in November of 2013, Leitrim County Council submitted an application to the National Cycle Network, or abbreviated NCN, Local Authority Funding Scheme, operating between 2014 and 2016. I understand from Leitrim County Council that there were 5 projects nationally were funded. They were number 6 on the list, so they just lost out. The matter is a constant source of debate and dialogue in that area of County Leitrim. And while the application at the time was a single application for the development of the Greenway from Drumduff in County Leitrim on the Leitrim-Sligo border to Blacklion in County Cavan, a distance of 40 kilometres, the application contained 2 clear options for funding one of 2 distinct phases. These are for a bound surface from Drumduff to Manorhamilton, a distance of 18 kilometres at a then cost of roughly 2.3 million, or for a bound surface from Manorhamilton to Blacklion, a distance of 22 kilometres at a cost of approximately 4.3 million. The Council considered that its application had the potential to deliver considerable social, recreational and economic benefit, and look forward to the Department's feedback regarding same, but as I say, they were unsuccessful on that occasion. And it is in that context that I have raised this particular issue, particularly as the Government has in recent weeks indicated that it is going to provide extra funding for the development of greenways. The Taoiseach himself, as you know, was present down in Moat for the development, for the official opening of a greenway in that part of the world. In fact, it was rather interesting. I know I'm diverting slightly here, but the chairman of Westmeath County Council, I think it's Councillor Daly, referred to that piece of track. Originally, the railway track has been used in the Sean Connery movie, The Great Train Robbery, which I remember seeing, and it was great enjoyment, so I'd recommend it to the House to watch it. But it's along that stretch, which is now going to be a part of a greenway stretching from Dublin over to Galway. So in the context of this, the Minister will be very aware of how important tourism is to County Leitrim. We have a very low industrial manufacturing base, and particularly in the area around Manorhamilton and down to the Sligo border, it is crucial to the future economic well-being of that area that there is some form of tourist attractions that are built on and developed, and can only happen with state aid. There just isn't the resources within the council or within the local communities, much and all as they have the will and the desire to do this. And this is an ongoing issue of the development of that greenway. It's a disused railway track that goes back into the middle of the last century, and everybody is in favour of it. That something would be done. This isn't a new issue. I'm sure it's been on the Minister's desk. Maybe he inherited it even because it's been there since before he took over. But I hope that you have some bit of positive news in relation to the wording of the motion as it's outlined.
Thank you, Cahirlock, and I want to thank Senator Mooney for raising this. I think this is the first time actually that we have dealt with each other in a matter like this.
Yes, forgive me.
But I think it's the first time we've had a commencement motion like this. All we need now is for Paschal Sheehy to cover this, and then it truly will be a historical coming together of different Paschals across the country on a matter. But just in relation to the issue that you've raised with me, I want to agree with what you have said there in relation to the hugely important contribution that greenways are making to tourism development across our country, and also to sustainable transport. And I'm reliably informed that the greenway that you referenced, that the Taoiseach opened up there on Sunday, this greenway was actually being actively used by local residents long before it was officially opened. Such was the recognition of its use and value. And we're all familiar with different greenways that are in place now across the country that are having the kind of economic effect that you described. We just have to look at, for example, the work that's underway in Waterford at the moment, what they're doing there in relation to greenway development. We're all familiar with the success of the greenway in Mayo and the effect that that has had on many communities that are located alongside it. And the challenge, of course, we face now is twofold now in relation to greenways. The first one is funding, which is something that I have to respond back to as Minister for Transport. But the second issue that is there, and I'm not saying for a moment this applies to this proposal, But as we look at expanding the quantity of greenways in the future, we will have to do work, Senator, to make sure they're all of the quality that we require, to make sure they're all located in ways, all located in areas, and that they traverse through areas that reflects the best practice of tourism in relation to building these greenways. Because Fáilte Ireland in particular have done a lot of research on the development of greenways across Ireland and Europe. And they're very, very clear to me that they need to be constructed in a certain way and go through communities and amenities in a particular way too, in order for them to generate the kind of demand that will make these good investments by central government and by local authorities. In relation to the particular greenway that the Senator is raising with me, my department is aware, as you have alluded to, of this proposal. I want to acknowledge the quality of the work that is underway in relation to that at the moment, and in relation to how funding might be imminently drawn down for this proposal. I want to confirm to the Senator that it's my understanding that the local authority at the moment are putting together a very good proposal and working hard about how this greenway could access EU Interreg funding, because the way this greenway is being constructed at the moment, I believe, might well meet many of the criteria that is laid down for this funding stream. And the reason why I would recommend that this be looked at the first opportunity is for two reasons. The first one is that the call for applications for this funding programme is going to open in a number of weeks' time, on the 4th of December. So there's an approaching window of opportunity for this greenway to access funding. And the second reason why, Senator, is that this programme and the way it's constructed makes available a very high percentage of the total amount of cost of the project. So this particular funding stream has the ability to deliver up to 85% of the total cost, which would be a massive contribution to the construction of this greenway were it to be successful. So I and my department will certainly be available to help in any way that we can with supporting the application, with helping to make sure that the application is as effective and as comprehensive as possible. But because this funding opportunity will be open very soon, and because of the high degree of cost that it could offer, it offers the best first opportunity for this programme to get funding to allow it then to move to construction at a point in the future.
Minister, I have been made aware of what you have outlined on the record in relation to Interreg 5, I think it is. And the Council are very much on top of this and will most certainly be formulating, as you say, or I think you indicated that they are in the process of putting together an application. However, it does beg the question that you are dealing with a local authority with limited resources. There is a 15% shortfall in terms of the funding. So the context in which I have been raising this, I didn't want to muddy the waters by referring to the Interreg issue, because I wanted to get an indication of what your department's and your thinking was in relation to this particular issue, which, by the way, is supported both by Cavan County Council and by Sligo County Council, who are making a separate application for the Sligo end of things. So, but this was specifically about Leitrim, and it was also in the context of the cross-border element as well. So I'm not sure whether you can give any indication at this stage that if Leitrim County Council required financial support in the event of them getting funding to fulfil the other 15%, because I'm not sure where it's going to come from, would that be a matter for your department to consider on application from Leitrim County Council? But I'd like to thank you for taking this particular motion, for outlining the importance you attach to greenways in particular, in general, and to this one in particular, and to again reiterate that you can understand the reason why there is such universal support in County Leitrim for this, because it could prove to be a catalyst for the development of further incoming tourist numbers other than residents, especially in a region where I, as a former chairman of Fáilte Ireland North West, know we have the lowest level of visitors of all the regions in Ireland because of our peripheral nature and other reasons as well. So you can understand why we see issues like this as being of great importance in terms of developing a tourist product, a quality tourist product.
Well, good.